Welcome to another inspiring conversation with an amazing leader. I'm Marc Pitman, the author of The Surprising Gift of Doubt. And during our launch, instead of just mindlessly refreshing stats, wondering if people are going to do anything with the book, my wife suggested that I talk to people I enjoy and that bring me life. And Chris Davenport is definitely one of those people. About a little over 10 years ago, I got a DM. I think it was one of the few times you used Twitter, huh? Probably.
Maybe the only time I've ever used Twitter.
Saying, you're in Seattle for this talk. Could we get together? And I'm so glad I said yes, because I got to meet Chris and Steph. And we've had 10 years of creating things together and doing things and living life and having kids leave the house intentionally. And just seeing us through different life stages. It's been pretty cool. Chris, I know that you prefer to be on the other side of the camera, helping other people tell their stories. So I appreciate your letting me get you on this side of the camera. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I know I don't really ever do interviews, so this is unique.
Well, I loved the interview that you sent out to the Nonprofit Storytelling Conference people today, or to the Movie Mondays folks, with your interview of me on goal setting. So I'm really glad that we're going to get to keep this going. For those of you who are watching on Amazon Live, there's a link, of course, to The Surprising Gift of Doubt here, but there's also a link to the book that Chris and Steph wrote in the pandemic called The Royal Couple. So you may not know that they're authors as well, but they are. There's so many multi-talented things, and I'm sure we could talk forever about that. But when it comes to leadership and doubt, Chris, what have you always led? I see you as somebody who just people naturally follow, but is that something that you've learned, or is that something you've experienced all your life?
It's kind of funny in that I never see myself as a leader, but when I look around, I see that people are following.
Yeah.
And
I guess it's better than the other way around, thinking that you're a leader and then looking around and there's nobody there.
Yeah. I get. So, I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Is this natural? Is this something you've always done?
Natural. I think so. I think I learned it from my parents, who said you can do anything you want in life. You know, you just have to go for it. So I typically go for it. And I remember in college, as a freshman, it was some sort of hazing ritual. The upperclassmen were doing something, and they were hitting us with sticks. And I'm like, this is not okay. Like, I'd go along with the rest of the stuff. So I stopped them, and one guy actually was hitting with the stick, and I grabbed his arm and said, stop it. And then after that, all the other freshmen just followed me and did whatever I said to do, instead of what the seniors and the juniors said to do. And I remember the house president at the time came to me and said, Chris, do you mind getting all the freshmen in line with what we want, because they just keep following you? I'm like, well, stop hitting us and doing crazy things to us, and sure, but no. So yeah, along the line, I think I've always, my dad was very much about truth. What's the truth? What's the honesty in the situation? And I think naturally, if you're truthful and honest and real, authentic, I think people tend to follow. And I think that's kind of what's happened to me.
I love that. Jordan Michael Thomas says hello, so we'll say hello back to him. If you're commenting on different platforms, you can definitely feel free to interact with us if you have questions for Chris. I love that. That's a common theme in the conversations I'm having so far, is authenticity, and being, and part of that is being somehow, as a leader, being open to saying, I don't know, without it becoming I'm not in charge anymore, do what you want. What are some of were there points, and was it maybe around that experience you talked, the hazing experience, or was it other points where you've been able to, or have you ever had, not just has saying I don't know been natural for you?
It's been pretty natural because I found early on that if I say I don't know, then I'm now in a position of learning, and people are much more willing to help you when you're learning. Versus if you say, oh, well, yeah, I know, and then you just muddle your way through. I mean, hey, you don't get to learn, and people go, I don't think he really knows. So I just,
Their internal BS-ometer goes up like, no, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
So I think being vulnerable to the situation is helpful. Just go back to your first question. Though, was it natural, or did you already always have it? And as we're talking here, as I'm thinking about this, it's like, I think some of it is natural, and then another part of it is learned. Because if you're married, you realize that it's not your way or the highway, right? And when you work with people, it's not your way or the highway. It just can't be that way. Even though sometimes it's like, man, I have to get this done. Just do it, right?
Just do it. Do what I hired you for. Yeah.
Right. But that doesn't work with normal people. We're regular people, and so. Over the last 10 years that you and I have been working together, you have been so instrumental in helping me. A lot of the stuff is in your book. I mean, some of the stuff in your book I've learned firsthand through our conversations and calling you up and say, hey, Mark, here's the issue I'm having and what can I do here? So just learning about different perspectives, different types of people have been really helpful. So some of it's natural, I guess, leadership, and then other is very much learned. So that you can have better relationships with people. It's just learning what motivates them versus what motivates me.
If everybody would just be motivated by what I'm motivated by, then we could just talk clearly.
Wouldn't that be a great world?
No, that would be really scary. Because we'd all be like throwing sparkly glitter around for me, and it wouldn't necessarily get stuff done. But I want to thank you. Many people may not know, but part of the book, there's a lot of influences in this book, but you're one of them, because not only did you give me the space to say, hey, could you develop this on the Enneagram? Could you develop this on stories? Could you develop this stuff that has now made it into the book? But also, you're the one who said to me in Minneapolis, I don't know what you do, Mark. I know what this person does. I know what this person does. I know what this person does. And I can refer them easily. Oh, you need help with X? Talk to this person. You need help with Y? Go to this person. But then there's you, Mark, and you're great, but I don't know what you really do. And so this book was an attempt to say, this is what I do as a coach. So thank you for continuing to push me to refine my message too.
Well, I think there are people that lead because they have a certain group of knowledge, expertise around a certain thing. And they say, okay, here, come follow me. This is where you need to get, and I can get you here. But that journey is really difficult for some people. And sometimes, and a lot of the times, the experts can't, like, they can deliver the steps to get there as from a technical standpoint, but the personal standpoint is hard because at the very core of everybody is a person, not a machine that is tasked with certain things to do, right? And I think one of the things that you do so well is you help the person work within that machine, or work a team work within that machine, so that the people can accomplish the task smoother, more effortlessly, and with more joy. So if you were to ask me what you do, that's what I think you do.
Wow, I'm so glad we're recording this too, because I told Emily earlier, I'm going to have to go back and reread all these when I'm not doing all this, or re-listen to them, because there's great and wonderfully affirming things like that. Thank you so much. One of the things that you and Steph are so good at is building a team or a community of people, like Karen, who's saying hi to us. And she's calling in Beth McGorry. So there are all these nonprofit storytelling conference alum, people that love the work that you do. Is it because you focus on the individual? Do you think that you're always, one of the things working with you both is that you're always not just here's a microphone, here's a stage, but it's you're very specific about what you want to accomplish in each of the sessions?
I think
okay. Yeah, no, let's do that.
A long way. We talk all the time. This is how I talk. I think at my core, I'm a creative problem solver. And I love to solve problems. So maybe those are the glasses that I wear with everybody's got a problem, right? Good, bad, indifferent, whatever. Maybe that's a horrible world.
Everybody's got a problem.
Everybody's got a problem. But I think that's where we can help each other, is we can help each other with different problems. So when we started the conference, and when Steph and I work with people, it's like, okay, well, what are they trying to achieve? Because we're talking to them for a reason, or they're talking to us for a reason. So what is the problem that they're trying to overcome? It might be a speed bump, or it might be a huge mountain that they're trying to overcome. So it's really delve into that and then build the curriculum, or build the relationship, or build the next hour-long conversation around that to try to move people from point A to point B, and help them along the way, much like what you do.
That's really interesting. Maybe that's why we get to get along together. I don't know.
Maybe.
One of the things I love is your attention to detail too, is the guest experience. We never call the attendees. We call them guests. And part of it is the blankets. Can you just describe why the blanket? Why did you guys think of bringing the blankets to the conference?
Well, it's so interesting. Before I started the conference, I had gone to maybe 2 or 3 conferences in my life, and I'm an introvert. So why the heck am I starting a conference where hundreds or thousands of people are going to come? And the conferences that I've been to, they've all been in kind of cold rooms, stark rooms, and it's kind of like a cattle call, kind of like high school was to me. I felt like you're just going through this industrial type process.
Yeah. And
I wasn't really a good fit. And I know that if I'm sitting in a room, sometimes Steph will Steph, by the way, is my wife. She'll put a blanket on, or my mom is cold and she'll put a blanket on, but I'm not cold. And so when we started the conference, it's like, you know what? What if we just made it not so sterile as a conference, and realize that there are different people in the room with different body temperatures. So why don't we have a basket of blankets, or blankets on the back table, so that it feels more like you're at home? Because the last thing I want somebody to do is sit there in the audience thinking about the temperature. I'm cold. When is this person going to stop talking from the stage so that I can go and get warm? Right?
You don't want that to be top of mind?
What?
You don't want that to be top of mind?
No.
That's
an easy problem to solve.
Well, and that's it. It goes back to your problem solving, creative problem solving. I love that the attention to detail and things like that. And I think that leaders can use this in different areas of their work. Is people were surprised and delighted when they saw boxes of blankets in the back. And I think they were just blankets from your house, right? The first time?
The very first one, yeah. And Costco, we just made a Costco run and bought like 60 blankets or something like that. Just crazy. And
now they've become, and many of you that are watching that are nonprofit storytelling conference alum know that now that they're in, they have branding and everything. The theme for the year is on them. They've become a thing. It wasn't.
Yeah.
You weren't setting out to create swag. You were just fixing a problem. So I think a lot of leaders could do that, even in the pandemic, thinking about how do we connect with our employees? How do we connect with our staff? Part of it could be thinking about what's their biggest problem. Maybe it's a meal. What if I got a DoorDash or an Uber Eats for each of my employees? And just said, hey, I know you're probably full with kids and stuff. You have a busy schedule. Here's dinner on us, or something like that. I mean, it seems like that would be a simple thing to do. That's really cool. What are as you look at leaders, you've worked with a lot of leaders and you've helped a lot of leaders overcome doubt, especially, I personally, but also nonprofit and business leaders. I think you're a good business coach. I don't know if you will yet take on that title, but business leaders come to you and say, I'm not getting to where I want to be. Can you help? And with your creative problem solving, you do pull it apart. How do you help people get down to what but out of all the problems, how do you help them focus on the one that seems to provide the clarity?
I ask a lot of questions.
That's true.
Because I think people think in very general terms. So their problem is very general. Like, for instance, maybe they want to retire early. Maybe they want to have more vacations, or maybe they want, I don't know what it is. But a lot of times in business and the people that I coach, it's around money. If they had more money, they could do more. right? So that's very general. If I had more money, okay, well, what does that mean for you, right? Forget about the salary that you have right now, because there's so much opportunity in this world. I think that's one thing that
Yeah.
I see that a lot of people don't see too, is like there's so much opportunity. There's so much opportunity just flowing by. So what I try to do with
There
leaders is
really is.
connect them with different opportunities by asking them different questions about their life, about their personality, and about their hopes, dreams, and desires, and then try to figure out other things they can add to their life or take away from their life so that they can accomplish the goals.
Wow. I'm. I was just thinking back to some of the. Sorry, I get stuck in part on the questions you ask, because sometimes it's really annoying to being on the receiving end of all the questions. But what do you mean, Mark? What? What would you do
Sorry.
with that? No, I'm better for it. I really appreciate that. Listen to this. You've got Michelle Brinson here saying that two of my favorite people. So glad I stumbled upon this live stream. We are glad too. You're one of our favorite people as well, Michelle. If you're watching us on Amazon Live, my book is here, here, and and Chris's and Stuff's book is there. Be sure to follow and click follow. But Chris, what do you talked about the opportunity? I think I don't know if it's cortisol. I'll be talking to Jessica Sharp a little bit later today, and she's a brain expert. But I know cortisol makes it so that we don't think clearly. We just get so stressed that our executive decision making goes away. But I wonder if that has something to do with the generality people feel, because it doesn't seem like people ask for help like the people that come to you until there's a lot of pressure. It's not just like, I'd like to optimize my work. It seems like people come to you more in crisis. Is that accurate, or is that just what I'm seeing?
Well, I think prevention is not sexy, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can't sell a healthcare system on prevention. So you mean human nature is, when it hurts, we fix it. So I think that's kind of what's going on here. I heard a long time ago, there was a company that insured AIDS patients, right? And I believe this is the way it goes.
Okay.
And people were like, "How can you have a business that insures AIDS patients that are, deathly ill, because they're going to die?" And they're like, "Well, they have to do every single thing. They have to take this drug this day, this drug this day, this drug this day, and people just won't do that." And so it was a good business model for them. I mean, it sounds horrific,
Doesn't
but
it? Yeah.
it just showed that people, even in a dire situation, have a hard time helping themselves or sticking with what they know to be working. We all kind of fall back into our own ruts. And
That's
I think
true.
when we fall back into our ruts, and if it's not too late, then we really need the help, because it's just too painful.
Yeah, we do fall back into our ruts, and unfortunately, those are usually not the ruts that of what got us to where we are. There are some other
Right.
bad ruts. Yeah.
Right.
So how do you, if there's leaders that are watching this, and for those of you that are watching, my take on leadership is it's influencing people. So there's positional leaders. You have a title in an organization, but most of us have to influence humans in some level. So I think we're all leaders. But if there's a leader of a team, and people aren't necessarily fulfilling their greater vision or seeing themselves as part of the whole, are there some things that you've learned or that you'd suggest the leaders do to try to help people become part of it?
This actually, you've helped me with this, and my cousin's father-in-law, who's a farmer in Montana, helped me with this. The two combined have really helped me. It's been a painful process for
A lot of
me.
manure. We shoveled a lot of manure for you.
A lot of manure. A lot of manure. Well, yours is way you have really helped me is with the Enneagram, and really talking about different personality types and how we are wired. It's not. It's more than personality. It's like how we individuals are wired, and knowing that there are many different types of being wired. And then my cousin's father-in-law is a farmer, and one day he said to me, he says, "Hey, do you know what a weed is?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's that like dandelion in the front yard that you just pull up." And he says, "No, A weed is a misplaced plant. And I thought, oh my gosh. So a soybean in a cornfield is a weed, but a soybean in a soybean field is not a weed. And so couple that with different personality types. If I'm having an issue with a person, or it doesn't seem like the person is working out over here, my first reaction right now is, okay, what personality type do I think they are? And are they a weed over here? How can I put them in the right field? In their right field. And if there is no field around, then they have to leave.
Right.
But before that, I try to think, okay, where will they shine the best? Because maybe I'm utilizing them in the wrong place. Maybe they're enthusiastic and want to be over here, but that doesn't really fit them.
And I love that kind of human and organizational connection of where do they fit best. But we're a team. We're trying to get this thing accomplished. And if they fit best in a way that isn't accomplishing what we're doing, then we do have to say goodbye. I think there's a reality there that isn't always talked about. So I'm glad.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the things you bring to the table too, is it's okay. No harm, no foul if it's not a good fit.
Yeah, there are plenty of things I don't like to do, nor am I good at. Why would I want
that's
to
true.
do those
Oh, I mean, sorry.
So why would I want to be put into that position where I'm not at my best? Right? That makes me cranky. So why do I want to do that to somebody else?
I think, the number of leaders that I've helped that have had somebody that has been toxic to their team, and they finally helped them leave. they've left. They've parted ways. And then 6 months later, the other person's grateful because they're in a much better place. And that leader is also in a better place because the rest of the team realizes, oh, all those values and stuff you said you believed, you really do. Thank you. And there's a lot of creativity that's released. So that's great.
I think, could I add
Go for
one
it.
more point?
Yeah.
And that is, I don't know, growing up as kids, you're like, oh, that person's mean or that person's not nice. And I don't think that's really the case for the majority of human beings. We get put into situations where maybe our crankiness comes out, but I don't think we are inherently mean to each other. So in a situation, our meanness might come out or crankiness might come out. But I think if you start with, this person really doesn't mean to be mean, or this person really isn't a bad person.
Interesting.
Where can they shine? That's better than going, well, man, this person's an idiot. I don't like them.
They're probably just trying to get by.
They need to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I try to start with the good in people. Gosh, that's a rosy thing coming out of my mouth, but I think I truly believe that.
having known you for so long, I think you truly do too. That is really fun. I was just listening to a podcast. I don't know if it was Throughline or the New York Times, but there was a real life Lord of the Flies. It was on Chaos. So maybe even Code Switch too. I don't know. But one of the segments was on the Lord of the Flies versus what really happened when some boys get lost. Lord of the Flies has really shaped a lot of our thinking that we're mean and power dynamics and hierarchical and warrior like, when it was really a collaborative. Some schoolboys did really get lost. I think it was off New Zealand, got stranded on an island, and they pulled together. They cooperated, and they survived for a year before they were found. It wasn't the Lord of the Flies at all. People did have good.
Well, think about it from a human being standpoint. And maybe this is just my own personality type or whatever, but think about how much happier, more joyful your life would be if you had a sense of accomplishment every single day versus a sense of dread, or you're just like blaming somebody else. Like, those are two different things. And I'd rather choose, like, let's try to accomplish something and get over a goal or hurdle or, and feel more powerful than weak.
Than just doing time. Interesting.
Yeah.
So we could talk forever because we normally do. For everybody that's
We
watching
do.
at the time of this call is our typical Monday 1:00 call, and it usually goes a lot longer than this. Oh, Beth McGorry is there too! Yay! So I'm gonna just drag her comment over into here because I can't. Oh, maybe I can't. There we go. Beth McGorry is, oh, beautiful friends. What amazing friends. Congratulations, Mark and Christopher. Good to see you and hear you. Good to see you as always, Beth. You're dear. Whenever I hear somebody say friends, I just think of Beth's like loving, including, and invitational saying that. So as we look at coming out of a pandemic, and we're just looking at life in the beginning of the 2021 at the time of this recording, what excites you about moving forward?
There's a lot. The thought of opening up and being able to get together again is great, right? But like from a business standpoint, I think the pandemic has been pretty amazing, horrific, but pretty amazing as well. And it's really allowed me, you, Shannon, Steph, different folks involved with the nonprofit storytelling conference to kind of rethink what we're doing. And for this year, it hasn't been announced yet, and it's 90% of the way there. But excuse me, we're going to do something. The theme will be around backyard barbecue. So I'm really excited.
Oh, really?
To kind of create. Yeah, I know. I know.
Oh, cool.
During our regular time.
I'm just the MC. No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding.
So we've got some fun additions and mix-ups with the conference this year, which I think people will really enjoy. You know, we try to keep it fresh all the time, and so yeah. I'm really excited about that.
Cool. So, anything else? Anything else that's on your radar screen?
Well, this other thing I'm doing with Steven Screen, where we do work, it's called Work Less, Raise More. That's the website, worklessraisemore.com. And we are doing some, well, you know me. I've been wanting to make fundraising drop dead simple for anybody. And we are working on stuff right now where, like, we've tested it with people that have never fundraised in their life. And they can write an appeal, a really good appeal, within half an hour. I mean, it's like, I really feel like I'm doing some of my best work right now.
Yeah.
And making a huge impact in the nonprofit world.
Well,
and that's exciting.
Well, thanks to you and your prodding, Stephen, there are a lot of nonprofits that had a much better outcome through COVID because they got over, or kind of they embraced the doubt, I guess, of knowing that they need to ask. We don't have it all together, and we need your support. And their donor, we just tapped into a donor generosity that has always been there. We just haven't been really clear at asking and letting the donors choose whether they're going to give or not. So thank you for your leadership in that sector, because lots of organizations are still around because you and Stephen with the Free Review Fridays and the Work Less, Raise More.
Isn't that amazing? Like, we really did get testimonials from people going, we would be out of business now if it weren't for you guys. But I think this comes back to doubt. Like what you are so good at talking about, it's people doubt their ability to fundraise, or they doubt whatever. But if they could remove that doubt and use it as a springboard to do more, like if you could do that, like the world would be so much more productive and happier, I think.
Well, and it's get that what you said too, that you're part of something that's bringing you some level of joy. It's life, so it's not always going to be nirvana. It's not always going to be rainbows and unicorns, but purpose is something that we can have and be tapped into. So, everybody, if you're on the fence about going to the Nonprofit Storytelling Conference, now is a good time, at the time of this recording, to get your registration, because there's a early bird. One of the early bird pricing things is going on still. So that's at nonprofitstorytellingconference.com. Work Less, Raise More is at worklessraisemore.com.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
The Royal Couple is a great book. Emily and I have read and loved seeing Steph and Chris model it as how do we live life together, and how do we do this in a way that honors each other and allows each other to be the fullness that we can be. So thank you for gifting the world with that. I can't wait to see more
You're
testimonials like that, like you get about the nonprofits, about that book as well. If there were one thing that a leader should do today, somebody that's watching this, that's thinking, I resonate with what Chris is saying, what would you encourage them to do?
Focus on people, not the task at hand. The task at hand is important, but focus on people and their problems, whether it's your customers, whether it's your employees, because I think our worth as people, I'm going to say a big general statement, is how best we can help people. And if we can help more people, then more comes to us, I think, at the same time. It's this funny circle. So if you want to be a leader, and you want to be a better leader, from my perspective, just be a servant to the people around you, to your customers, and help them.
Wow. Thank you so much for modeling that. And thank you for helping me celebrate the launch of this book.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
What an accomplishment.
It is. It's just the beginning, I know. We'll see you on the other side.
All right. Bye, Mark.